Welcome to the Spine Mini Mobility. Today we're going to be focusing a lot on segmentation, as I believe that's one of the most important aspects of spine health, is learning how to articulate each vertebrae at a time. So we're going to start by doing a full segmentation and then breaking it up into the lower half and the top half using a couple different positions. And then working on expanding what's called T-spine extension, which is essentially the ability to extend through the upper back, which is super important when we're pressing up overhead. Then we'll finish it up with some rotation, because the spine is capable of rotation, so we need to include that, and finish it up with a reassessment of how our segmentation feels after doing some work. So without further ado, let's start with a spinal segmentation. Using the all fours position, we're going to stack shoulders over top of the wrists, hips over top of the knees, and we're going to start from our fully flexed position. So the chin is going to tuck, hands are going to push through the floor to create that dome in the upper back, and then we're going to tuck the pelvis under, squeeze the butt tight. This is going to be our start position, and from here we're going to tilt the pelvis forward, creating that small arch in the low back, and working our way up towards the belly button, down towards the floor, the lower ribs, the chest, the shoulders, head starts to rise, and finally we keep our eyes on the horizon. From here, we're going to keep our chest. Imagine a string pulling you towards the floor. You're going to stay extended, eyes up on the horizon. We're going to start back at the pelvis, going back into a posterior tilt, so that curling under. Good. Now someone's pulling your belly button towards your spine, your lower ribs, into the upper back. You can start pushing through those hands. Eyes are still looking forward before that final tuck of the chin. And we'll go one more time through. So a slow tilt, trying to control each piece of the spine at a time. Dropping the chest, the shoulders. Slowly the head looks up. Keep the eyes on the horizon. We're going to go tuck of the pelvis. Working slowly, try not to let that upper back move. As you creep up towards, now we'll let it move as we push through our hands. That dome comes to rise. And finally the chin tucks. To assess how that feels, we are going to do that movement again at the end of the class to kind of see how we feel after we've worked on expanding some range of motion. The next part we're going to work on is control of just the lumbar. So we're going to lock our T-spine or our thoracic spine, the upper back. We're going to do that by coming onto our forearms here and head down towards the floor. You don't want to sit back onto your heels for this one, as that'll lock the lumbar spine as well. So we keep forward, so it's hips over top of the knees, forearms and the head rests on the ground, and then from there we'll go into our fully flexed position. So it's going to come mostly from the ribs back down to the hips. So you're going to curl under and then try to create that dome through the low back this time. From there we're going to tilt the pelvis forward and slowly work our way down, getting stuck probably about the lower ribs, and that's okay. We're locking the upper back, so we really can't move much through there. Then from there, we're going to start to create that dome again before going back into a posterior tilt. We're going to do that a few more times, so tilt the pelvis forward. Try to create that arch in the low back. And then slowly work back to creating the dome. Good, we'll go two more. Creating the arch. Really try to drop that belly button down towards the floor, and then we're going to slowly pull it back up towards the ceiling and curl the hips under. Get one more, tilting the hips forward, drop that belly button, pull the belly button up, tuck under. Good. Next up, we're going to go rocking back. Try to sit on the heels as best as you can. Now we're going to lock the lumbar or the low back. From there, again, we can come onto the forearms. And this time, we're going to imagine, or we'll first go up into the dome position. So chin goes tucked, rounding through the upper back. Now imagine there's a string on your sternum or the front of your chest. It's going to get pulled forward as you try to bring the chest up. And slowly the head's going to peel up as well. Now from here, we're going to start by tucking the chin, rolling through the neck, shoulders come through, spine will start to round up into that dome,
And then we get pulled back down, keep that chin tucked, as we're still trying to segment our spine as best as we can. And looking up. Chin tucks, the neck rolls, upper back comes up, into the rib cage creating that dome. Start to get pulled on that string of the sternum, get pulled towards the floor, and slowly work up to the head. Good. Next up, we're going to work on some pails and rails for T-spine extension. So like I said, really important for moving the arms up overhead. So we can get into a Sphinx position. So here, a couple things are going to be important is where we put our arms, as well as what position the rest of our body's in. So start with your arms out quite far to where you can keep your pelvis tucked under in a posterior tilt, so you're squeezing the butt tight, and also where you can hold down the ribs. So you don't want to just be cranking up through the low back way in this position. We start with the arms out wide, and we're going to hold this position. So you are supporting yourself, so you're going to push through the ground a bit, tuck the hips under, squeeze the butt tight, and just pull the ribs down a bit, almost like you're crunching forward. And then we're going to hold that position. Now as we're holding, I'll explain our pails and rails contractions. So they're going to be two separate contractions. Our pails is going to be, imagine you're driving your elbows towards your hips. So you don't do that now. We'll do it when the time has come. But imagine when that time comes, you're going to be driving your elbows towards your hips, and you're going to be pulling your ribs down harder, almost picking the spine up, like so. That's going to be our pails contraction. So we'll slowly ramp that up and hold that position for up to 10 seconds at our greatest, safest contraction. The second, the rails, is going to be, imagine you're punching forward, and that string is getting pulled on the sternum again. So you're really going to drive your chest up and try to show it to the wall in front of you. Once we've done our rails, then we would adjust our hands, and then we'll hold our new position and create those cycles. We're going to go 3 times through today. So we're getting to the end of our passive hold here. So this is where the active or the pails contraction is going to start. So very gently start to drive elbows towards the hip, pull it down the ribs, and then we're going to slowly increase that tension. You should start to feel your core contract. Keep squeezing the butt to make sure that we're not arching through the low back. And then we're going to ramp that up 20% of our max tension, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%, 80%. Let's go 90. Some shaking might start to happen. Now we lock in that greatest, safest effort for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Now we're going to think about punching our arms forward. They don't actually move. And then we're peeling the chest up as best we can. Don't lose that tilt. So we keep squeezing the butt, trying to get that motion through the upper back only. Keep pushing, pushing, pushing. 3, 2, 1. Good. Slowly slide your arms back underneath to support your new position. And relax, take a few deep breaths here. So in through the nose, try to go for about 4 to 5 seconds. Out through the nose as well. And just get comfortable in our new position. Again, double check if you're now just starting to crank through the low back. Make sure we keep that tilt the whole time. And we're going to start to drive those elbows back down again. Starting light with our pressure. We pull the ribs in, squeeze the butt tight, drive the elbows down towards the hips, and we ramp that tension up about 40% right now, 50%, 60, 70, 80. Keep ramping up to your greatest, safest effort here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly ramp down. Now imagine punching forward. We're going to drop the chest, try to crank that chest up towards the sky. Good. Keep pushing those arms forward, pulling the chest forward and up towards the ceiling. Good. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Again, move those arms underneath. If If you don't move that much on the second time, that's okay. Sometimes we are kind of maxed at where we're going to get today. But if we do this consistently, we can slowly improve our T-spine extension, which again is going to translate to overhead movements and overall good back health and posture. So we're going to go for our last round here. We're going to start driving the elbows towards the hips, ribs pull down, butt squeeze tight. We're ramping up tension 30%, slowly increasing 40, 50, 60, 70. Shakings might start to occur as you go 80, 90. Max it out for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax there. Start to drive the arms forward as we drop that chest. Try to bring it up towards the ceiling. Really extend through the upper back. You can keep driving there for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Use our arms to support that new position. And take our 3 deep breaths here. So again, in through the nose, out through the nose. Trying to go 4 seconds in. And 4 seconds out. And then when you're ready, you're just going to slowly come out of that position, as it can be a bit intense. And we're going to go onto our side for the next one. So the next one here is going to be an open book windmill. Like I said, we're incorporating rotation as well, as our spine is built to rotate. We're going to bring one leg up like so, and then pin it with our bottom arm. You can always use something to support your head, but we're going to be reaching forward. I might be off camera here, but I'm reaching as far forward as I can. And then imagine drawing a bow back as it comes across your chest. If you want to reach with the arm, that's okay. And then you're going to reach forward once again. And we're going to go for 5 slow rotations on each side. I like to try to time my exhale as I reach back. So inhale as you reach forward. And exhale. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reach back. Good. And then we'll do the other side. Try to slide back so you guys can see that reach. So, again, bottom arm is going to pin that top leg. You're going to reach as far forward as you can. Take a deep inhale. And exhale as you rotate back. Try not to let that knee move, so that's going to tell you that you're moving through the low back, or through kind of the hip shifting, and no longer are you rotating through the spine. Good, we'll get a couple more here. Keeping that control the whole time. This isn't one you need to force more and more rotation. Just kind of let the weight of your body and your arm carry you back. So that shoulder's peeling towards the floor behind you. But it doesn't need to touch, that's okay. You're just rotating with what you got today. Good. How we're going to finish today's class is going back to that spinal segmentation, but this time doing it for a reassessment purpose. So seeing how it feels from the beginning to now. Hopefully it feels a little bit smoother in terms of control because we've been practicing for the last 15 minutes. But also in terms of how much extension. So really pay attention as you get into that drop position. Can you get a little bit lower with that string pulling you into extension? Okay, so we'll start again in our fully flexed position. So making a dome between with the upper back. Chin is tucked, tailbone tucked under. Keep that chin tucked, the dome, as you tilt the pelvis forward. Working on that control, slowly going to the belly button. Slowly going to the lower ribs, then the middle ribs, the chest, the shoulders. Really drive that extension as the head rises. Good, and then we'll start from the pelvis again. We're going to curl under, bring the belly button up towards the sky, the ribs, the chest, the shoulders, finally chin tucks. One more repetition as slow as you can. Dropping belly button, dropping lower ribs. Starting to feel that T-spine extension really drive. So you can imagine that punching forward like we're doing in the rails where our arms are going to slide. And then we're dropping the chest. That string is pulling us into more extension. And then we'll go one more round through flexion, so tilting the pelvis under, pulling belly button out, the lower ribs, the chest, shoulders, and finally the chin will tuck. Excellent. So there is our mini mobility for the spine. Again, we've focused a lot on segmentation. That is going to be what I believe is one of the most important things for spine longevity and health. So building strength, awareness, control is going to translate to things like picking up your kids, playing sports, doing lifts in the gym such as deadlifts and squats. It has so much transfer because really all your movement starts from the trunk and goes outwards. Have a great day.